Hi, we're so glad you're with us tonight. Cheers. Grab an adult beverage. There's no bad choice. And join us. Thank you for tuning in tonight to celebrate the wonderful work the team at Power My Learning is doing to help students, teachers, and families nationwide. Now, this is a special night for us because it's Power My Learning's first virtual Innovative Learning Awards. And so far, we're on the air, so this is a good start. Now, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, in particular, our Impact, Team Up, and platform sponsors who have helped make this evening a tremendous success. And I say it's already a success because, as I just said, we're on the air. That's awesome. So a special welcome to our honored viewers this evening because you're the reason we're here to raise some money, and a big thank you to our benefit committee co-chairs, Ruth Altchek and Christine Winter. We know how hard you work for all of us, and thank you for the support you provide Power My Learning year-round. All right, so let's tackle some logistics before we get started. If you're not doing so already, what we're going to do is ask that you view the webcast on your computer or a laptop, because that leaves your phone free for bidding and pledging, and that's what we're all about. So grab your phone. If you're ready, let's get going. Now, I hope you've already registered for the online auction we're using Bitly, bit.ly/auction ILA. If not, go ahead right now, go to bit.ly/auction ILA on your phone. You'll be prompted to fill in just a little bit of information, then you'll be ready to go. So the online auction is actually live right now. It closes in about 30 minutes. And there's some wonderful things on there, including some impressive artwork by a very talented artist who happens to be my husband, Ruben Robier. These are hard to find pieces, so I think you'll enjoy them. So, all of our items tonight have been donated by board members and other supporters so that the proceeds go directly to support Power My Learning. The online auction is live right now. It closes in 30 minutes. So if you're a multitasker, you can actually watch us and bid and donate all at the same time. To participate in our live pledge, simply text ILA to 91999 from your phone. Then you'll be ready for bidding and pledging, and it's that easy. So go be competitive, be generous, have fun. Remember, it's all for a good cause. Also, you can share your experiences tonight by posting selfies to your social media accounts with the hashtag 2020ILA. And if you do it on Twitter, I'll retweet every post you make tonight. All right? So let's get going and let's make some cash. We all know the current health crisis is having a profound impact on children's learning. This is particularly true in the communities that Power My Learning serves, where educators are struggling to provide equitable learning experiences for every student and bring their families into the learning process. Now, this is why Power My Learning's work is so important, especially now with all of our kids spending all of their time at home. And that's their school hours learning time at home as well. So let's hear from our true host tonight. Elizabeth is the CEO and co-founder of Power My Learning, Elizabeth Stock. And her resume has an impressive list of accomplishments for 10 people, much less one. She's a former White House fellow, a Peace Corps volunteer, a high school teacher, and not to mention she holds a patent and 4 degrees from MIT. But her greatest accomplishment of all is probably partnering with Dan Dolgin 20 years ago, and together building Power My Learning into a national leader in the K-12 education space. So let's hear more about Power My Learning from the CEO and co-founder, Elizabeth Stock. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us tonight. As we were doing this work over the past 2 decades, and I'm talking pre-COVID-19, we learned that family engagement efforts often look like this: a line. On the left side, you have schools helping teachers learn how to interact with students, but not their families. And on the right side, you have schools hosting events like Donuts for Dads, but those don't connect families to what their children are learning from their teachers. Our insight is this: instead of looking like a line, effective family engagement looks like a triangle, with teachers and families reinforcing what each other is doing around curriculum to support students academically and social emotionally. In short, effective family engagement is about activating all sides of the triangle. Now let's fast forward to the pandemic. Anyone who's been studying equity in K-12 education knows that there are vulnerabilities that have been there. This has always been true, but COVID-19 has pulled back the curtain and made it more visible. If you're a superintendent and you care about educational equity, you need to care about this triangle. I was on a call recently with about a half dozen superintendents who predicted it will take 3 years before K-12 education returns to anything resembling what we knew. We're all going to have to adjust to a new normal with episodic building closures, with students doing a hybrid of distance and in-person learning. Family engagement can no longer be a box that gets checked. Now educational leaders are looking to activate all sides of the triangle. So how does PowerMyLearning do that? Well, we provide professional development to teachers to help them improve their instructional practices, both with students and with families. And we have an exciting innovation called Family Playlists. Family playlists are weekly or bi-weekly assignments that have students teach academic concepts to their families using a fun offline activity. And families then share that experience with the teacher. You know the adage, you don't really know something until you teach it to someone else? Well, learning science shows that it's true. Family playlists result in gains for students of as much as 4 months of additional learning per year. They also break down the language and technology barriers. You can do a family playlist in Spanish or in Arabic and do them on your phone. And we all know mobile phones have been broadly adopted in all communities. Recently, in response to COVID-19, we decided to offer family playlists free to schools through the end of the summer. And we've seen a tripling of usage and a big increase in demand. Since the building closures, teachers have told us they love family playlists even more. And 2 things stand out. Almost everything else teachers are doing puts students in front of screens. But Family Playlist has them moving their bodies and using materials in their homes. And with kids now learning at home, parents often find themselves in the role of compliance officer. Did you do this? Did you do that? But Family Playlists include fun activities to do together. Teach me. We're excited by this feedback, but we weren't really surprised. Because even before COVID-19, teachers were receiving photos like this. And videos. Take a look at Delea, a 2nd grader, teaching her mom addition with word problems. This is a video her mom sent to her teacher.
Delea has 7 turtles. Her little brother James has 5 turtles. How many do they have all together? So, what you're going to do to try to solve this is, what's 7 plus 5? 7 plus 5 equals 12. So, what's your answer? 12. This is addition problem.
Now let me turn this over to the real stars of the night, our PowerMyLearning Triangle awardees. We selected this trio because they exemplify the power that can be unleashed when you activate all sides of the triangle. We have Skylin, a 5th grade student at one of our partner schools in New York City, her mother, Natasha, and her teacher, Miss Hickey. Congratulations, and Miss Hickey, Natasha, and Skylin, take it away.
When I was in the 3rd grade, my class was reading The Cricket in Times Square by George Selden. My teacher, Miss Henderson, assigned a project based on the book. We were to design a cricket cage. I remember going home that night with the assignment in my folder, anxiously waiting for my dad to come home from work to share the details of the project. If anyone was going to help me create a perfect cage for that tiny little cricket, I knew it was my dad. We spent the next 2 weeks discussing, imagining, designing, and creating a cricket cage I would keep well into my adult years, but more importantly, a memory that I would keep forever. There were many more projects and papers and nights sitting on the couch, studying for tests. Having my dad be such a big part of my schoolwork played a huge role in my education and has helped shape the number 1 value in each one of my classrooms, family. This year, I was introduced to PowerMyLearning and my coach Rachel, and I started using family playlists. Through this incredible program, I was able to build on that family value and provide access for students and families to share in the learning process. I knew right away that this program was something that fit perfectly in my classroom. I was so excited for students to be able to go home and have that couch time and special moments with someone that they chose to share their learning process with. Luckily for me, I was able to hear these special stories throughout the year. I got to hear about how Jesse was completing his family playlist while sitting in McDonald's eating chicken nuggets. I got to hear how Fatima had taught her mom how to add and subtract fractions. I had students eagerly ask me when the next playlist was going to be assigned, and parents expressing thanks for being able to know what their students were learning in school. One parent and student that stood out to me in particular were Skylin and her mom, Natasha. I enjoyed reading their honest feedback about how the family playlists were working for them. Natasha would often write to me in gratitude for providing a means for her and Skylin to engage in learning opportunities together. Skylin would often write to me detailing her experiences teaching her mother the material, and sometimes even her frustration. My favorite memory of Skylin and Natasha's journey was when I received selfies of them doing the work, even after Skylin had only just woke up. As we started out on this remote learning journey during the pandemic that we are in today, I felt confident knowing that I had family playlists to assign so that students could continue to learn and engage with their parents. Oftentimes, my colleagues say to me, "I don't get it. How do you get your students to work like that?" Family is the answer, and thank you to PowerMyLearning for supporting me in building strong relationships between myself, my students, and their families. And now, let's hear from Natasha and Skylin themselves.
As a parent, my biggest fear is failing my child. With the changes made to the curriculum taught in schools today, I frequently find myself feeling clueless and unable to assist my daughter with her assignments. Skylin's pretty good at grasping the concepts that she learns, but there's times when she needs help and I just can't help her. The feeling is discouraging. However, we've been able to overcome that hurdle with the help from PowerMyLearning and Ms. Hickey. Skylin's teacher creates frequent family playlists where I can learn what she's covering in school while my daughter teaches me as if she's the teacher. The experience is one of a kind. PowerMyLearning creates a path for communication, understanding, and fun learning. I can learn the concepts while recognizing my daughter's strengths and weaknesses, but that's not the best part. The best part is when Skylin and I work together to solve problems in the family playlist activities. One of the family exploration activities we've encountered was about fractions. And Skylin, bless her heart, tried explaining the concepts to me, but I just couldn't get it. And I think that was the first time that she got a taste of what Miss Hickey goes through on a daily basis. When the concept finally clicked, I was extremely proud of Skylin for pushing through and teaching me. While I appreciate the most of PowerMyLearning is that it connects the teacher, the student, and the parents, because we all play an important role in the student's academic growth. And now, I present my daughter.
Let's give Natasha and Skylin a few minutes to get set. We're waiting for Skylin to step into the room.
I really like family playlists. It's so much fun to use and it helps me review what I learned in class. I've been using family playlists for a very long time and I love the way it brings my family together. My mother and I do the family playlist together and she doesn't always understand the work and her reactions are too funny not to laugh. Like when we were doing this fraction playlist, she squinted her eyes in confusion and complained. It looked like her head was going to explode. I feel like PowerMyLearning is so helpful and I'm glad Miss Hickey gives out family playlists because then I get to teach my parents what I'm learning in class.
Thank you, PowerMyLearning and Miss Hickey.
So Ms. Hickey, Natasha, and Skylin are the reason that we are truly here today. They represent just one of the many successful teacher, parent, and student relationships that PowerMyLearning helps to foster. Now, the impact that PowerMyLearning is able to have on an entire school community is proven. Teachers become stronger instructional leaders, parents feel empowered as support partners, and students are prepared to meet the challenge of high academic standards. PowerMyLearning continues to be a force for growth in all those that they serve, even in our current uncertain times, when the triangle approach is needed actually more than ever. Well, folks, it's time for our pledge drive. One of the highlights of the evening, I think, other than the adult beverage you're enjoying right now, I hope. Cheers. Your support tonight means so very much to the teachers, parents, and students whose lives are being changed by PowerMyLearning every day. It means that we can provide schools with coaching and workshops for their educators, along with meaningful approaches to family engagement. Now, I'm going to turn the screen over to Jamie McDonald to lead our pledge drive. Born and raised in the UK, Jamie moved to New York over 10 years ago and has worked with nonprofits across the country to help them realize their fundraising goals. He has that incredible accent that just says, "Give me the money," in a very polite way. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jamie McDonald. Jamie?
Thank you very much, Sam. Yes, my name is Jamie McDonald, and that accent is yours for just a simple donation of $10,000. No, I'm obviously just kidding. But I am your fundraiser this evening, and I'm going to waste exactly no time whatsoever moving on to such an important part of the evening, the fundraise. Over the next 5 to 10 minutes, you at home, that's right, you sitting at home, are going to make sure and support that people like Miss Hickey can support Skylin's, can support Natasha's, and complete that triangulation. Okay, so when you're ready, sit back, relax, and let's make your money, put it where the maths are. So, step number 1, take one of those delicious beverages. Thank you, darling. PowerMyLearning Blue, if you notice. If you haven't got a signature cocktail, it's being presented on screen now. PowerMyLearning is suggesting there Manhattan with a twist. The twist being you have about 10 more seconds to make that cocktail because you need to be back down with your phone, which is step number 2. Now, you're going to need your phone in your hand because if you want to pledge, as has been said so many times, please text ILA to 91999. Please text ILA to 91999. And that's where we're going to get the pledges going. I can't wait to get going, so let's crack on. We are going to start at the $5,000 level. I know this is a huge amount, but let me just explain what this funds. This fosters a learning community. What does that mean, I hear you say? It goes across 2 schools, and it's important because it gets that triangulation into that community, and that community positively echoes throughout those schools. So yes, $5,000 is a huge amount, but you can see what a difference it's going to make. And now I'm asking, and we just got our first $5,000 confirmation. Carolyn Blackenship, thank you so much for that donation. I do know Carolyn is a board member, clearly a very active board member. Any other board members, please do take note. But that has just made, we have a second donation, Maureen and Edwin Slosh. Thank you so much, Maureen and Edwin. That's fantastic. Okay, where's this totalizer? Let's see how we're getting on. Must be coming up just here. All right. Look at that. We are cruising through. I know we were starting around the $200,000 level and we're zooming up through. Please keep the donations coming in. This is great. Okay, we're off. I'm getting excited now. My heart's beating. Okay, the next level is $2,500. $2,500 is to do with the family playlist. And we've been hearing a lot about that this evening from Natasha, from Elizabeth in her speech. And what this is doing is developing 4 family playlists at the kindergarten level. This is the secret sauce. This is the extra mile of PowerMyLearning. This is the extra bit that this company goes in order to basically bring that education back home. If what you've heard today about family playlists has resonated with you, $2,500, I challenge you to find somewhere better you can spend that money. Okay, the totalizer is ticking up. I can hear more donations coming through. Take another sip of that delicious cocktail. Get the bravado up to perhaps donate. Just think about what you can donate tonight as we go on to the next level. $1,000. $1,000. Now, this is a really important level because of what Natasha said. If you remember what she said her greatest fear was disappointing her child. And what $1,000 does is allow 10 teachers to check in so that nobody falls behind. And this is in-person stuff. So if you think $1,000 is something you can afford, that is the level of support you are giving to PowerMyLearning. And I can hear there's a couple, I'm going to read out. I've got a couple of $1,000 pledges coming through. Michael Poser, give yourself a pat on the back. Christian Hillebrand, Jared Hillebrand, Darcy Bradbury, thank you so much. Monica White coming in with $1,000. Bernadine Caruso, $1,000. Here we go. The totalizer is racking up. Please do keep these donations coming through. Don't just prevaricate, donate. If you're hovering over the button, do give it a press. We are going down to the $500 level. At $500, you may not have thought about this, but English is not everyone's first language when they're back at home. And what this does is provide multilingual text messaging to 50 families. Obviously, English not being your language can be a huge barrier to these families. If you know people who are in this situation, perhaps this level resonates most with you. And let's see, can you stretch to $500? You may have been coming in this evening thinking, I'm happy to give 100 or 200, but really think to yourself now, is $500 something I can stretch to help those families with that language barrier? Okay. I get the totalizer is ticking up. I can hear these donations coming through. Oh, starting to sweat a bit. I'm so excited. Moving down one level to $250. If $250 is a level where you feel comfortable, then you should know it is going to have an enormous impact. It's a great level to be donating at because it allows real-time support from up to 100 teachers. Now, that is a lot of support for that amount of money. Just think about it. $250 is going to allow 100 teachers to give that real-time support. I realize you may have come with like, $100 in the back of your mind. I'm asking you now, I'm challenging you now. Can you think of a better way to spend $250? And if you can't, please do donate. Those are the kind of numbers which do make a really big difference. Okay, so I'm just going to let everyone know that $200 is still a large amount of money. I do get that, but you can donate any amount you want. Perhaps your lucky number is 37 because you've been watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, or you want to donate your birth year, which for me is 1978. Maybe that's your number, and that would obviously be great. I just heard Daniel Dolgin and Loraine Gardner coming in at $2,000. You're actually going to hear a little bit from them later on. Daniel and Loraine, thank you so much. $2,000 is such a generous donation. And I ask all of you now, can you please think hard? What can you give? Okay, listen, can we get to $250,000 just while I'm here? Those $1,000 and $2,000 levels, keep them coming. Okay, well, listen, I think that's pretty much enough from me. I just want to say it's been a pleasure getting to know this organization. They are so fantastic, particularly at this time that we all live in. I'm going to hand back over to co-founder and CEO, Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you, Jamie, and thanks to all of you for your support. I'm just blown away. Now I have the honor of introducing our Visionaries of the Year, a married couple that changed my life, Dan Dolgin and Loraine Gardner. Little did I know when I first met Dan that we would join forces in what has become a 20-year effort that has made a significant difference in children's education. Right from the beginning, it was far beyond a business relationship. We became family. We've seen each other's children grow up, and I've been able to witness how Dan and Loraine approach everything they do with smarts, with generosity, with care, and with love. I cannot imagine what PowerMyLearning would have become without Dan and Loraine. Please welcome my heroes, Dan and Loraine.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that and for so many things. And good evening to everyone. We're a long way from the small downtown Vietnamese restaurant where Elizabeth Stock and I first met in 1998. Now, as we're all feeling so compressed and squeezed out of our senses and onto lonely islands connected only by technology, I want to look back on the places we've been and see how the arc of those dots might lead us. Elizabeth and I first met to discuss our common interest in the emerging tools of technology and how they might be used to help children become better learners, particularly those who don't have rich learning resources at home. That dot leads to Suzanne James and Bill Rappel, to Vanessa Krenwinkel and scores of other PowerMyLearning staffers and supporters, a train of terrific members of the board of directors, and most important, to scores of thousands of the kids we serve, each of whom has been so eager to crack the fertile eggs of his or her own curiosity. And those dots lead to Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx, and then to Philadelphia and Atlanta and California, and to every state in the Union. Together, these dots paint the most satisfying picture of my working life. The particular genius of the PowerMyLearning team starts with a harmonious blend of heart and science, into which the parents and teachers and students, the sponsors and supporters and staff, each put something and each takes back more in return. Now, first we look at the data, then we adjust our best available tools, then we look back at the data and adjust the tools again. In the process of studying how children learn, we learn, and in that we take pleasure. A colleague of mine recently flagged for me an article that in part explains what I've long thought was one of the great mysteries of evolution. Why do people do good deeds, even at cost, indeed sometimes at considerable risk to themselves? Well, behavioral neuroscientists have shown that doing good deeds actually releases an neurological response, a trigger in people that, among other things, seems to relieve pain. Why do people do good deeds? Well, for one obvious reason, it's pleasurable. It is among the highest pleasures of my life to have had the opportunity to watch the greatly talented, but more important, the profoundly good, Elizabeth Stock and Mark Malaspina heading the team at PowerMyLearning. To each of you who has contributed to this cause in one way or another, I thank you. And moreover, the children we serve and their children, whether they know your names or not, will thank you as well.
Good evening, Team PowerMyLearning and all of our guests. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. The mission of PowerMyLearning has always been to empower kids with the tools to maximize their potential through the best of the online world. Today's PowerMyLearning, more than ever, integrates parents, caregivers, and teachers into that mission. With the intensity of the need for revised teaching protocols created by the pandemic, PowerMyLearning's work is ever more important. To the fantastic staff of PowerMyLearning, to PowerMyLearning supporters, to the educators, parents, and other caring adults, and to the students using PowerMyLearning's resources. Thank you for forging ahead to realize Dan and Elizabeth's dream of opening the positive benefits of the online world to all kids.
Now it's my huge pleasure to introduce one of the most talented and beloved stars of Broadway, film, and television, Bernadette Peters. To me, her most winning quality is obvious, her deep concern about the welfare of those who depend on the adults in the room. She writes books for children. She works to save the lives of rescue dogs. She's abundantly talented, has endless energy, and devoted herself to helping others. Who better to celebrate our goals? Our friend, Bernadette Peters.
Hi, everyone. I want to congratulate and celebrate my friends Loraine and Dan Dolgin for helping to launch the PowerMyLearning project, helping children to increase their learning skills, and to toast them as they continue on in the world to make a difference everywhere. To Loraine and Dan.
Thank you, Bernadette.
We
Cheers.
love you.
And Dan and Loraine are pulling out that star power with Bernadette Peters. So thank you, everyone, for participating tonight. And thank you again to our sponsors and those of you who have donated today. Your support means everything to the students, teachers, and families PowerMyLearning continues to serve all across the nation. And on a personal note, Rubem and I first met the group at PowerMyLearning last year at this event. And we were incredibly impressed with the students, the parents, and the teachers, and how all of them were working together. Look, recently we've all learned, well, we've already known how difficult it is to be a student, how difficult it is to be a parent, but we've all learned how difficult it is to be a teacher now. So imagine when all three of those things are working together, the power it creates. Don't forget to text the word ILA to 91999 and make your donation today. You can keep donating. Thanks again for joining us, and cheers.